Sound of Money with Santosh Sirur.
Hello, sir, and welcome to my 100th series of The Sound of Money. So glad to have you.
No, wonderful to be with you. I'm delighted that this is your 100th podcast, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you, sir. So many congratulations from me and our audiences for your new book, Smarter Than the Storm, which is, as I know, as the intersection of AI and climate change. I have a question for you, sir, on your book. Basically, how does that help? How AI is helping in combating climate change? Essentially, AI driving such climate resilience and sustainability.
So first of all, let me give you a glimpse of this book.
Sure.
This is the book, Smarter Than the Storm, Championing the AI Climate Nexus. It's been written with a colleague of mine called Siddharth Sirur, who worked with me both in NITI Aayog and in G20. And what is important to comprehend is that in 2024, the world's 10 costliest climate disasters actually caused over about $300 billion in damages, and they had huge impact on human lives. And what is important is that there are symptoms of deeper failure in how we build cities, how we design infrastructure, how we govern finance, and how we use technology in the context of climate change. And then we have artificial intelligence, which will be radically transforming lives, and it is the most path-breaking technology, which is a general purpose technology which will impact every single sector as we go along. The challenge is that this is also an energy guzzler in many ways. And we need to comprehend that while climate change is undoubtedly the biggest threat multiplier of our times, it amplifies existing vulnerabilities such as poverty, inequality, and governance gaps. But there is a rising new technology, and this new technology is expanding at extraordinary speed. It is quite often it is presented as a silver bullet or as a new villain. Neither view is accurate, and AI can be a huge force multiplier. Its impact depends on how we utilize the technology, but the environmental footprint of AI is already visible. It is having huge impact, and the annual emissions are more than a major global city such as New York. And according to the International Energy Agency, its projections that electricity used by data centers will actually more than double to about over 950 terawatt hours by 2030. And that's roughly equal to Japan's current power consumption. And that is all being actually driven by AI. But it's important to understand that the same capabilities that are raising concerns can also radically, strengthen climate resilience. AI models actually can turn decades of climate, hydrological and satellite data into hyperlocal flood and heat forecasts that can give communities and city managers power of warning. Instead of ours, they'll immediately, we can today power digital twins of cities, power grids and river basins, so that planners can stress test infrastructure. But I think the most important thing is that as we go along, what this book argues is that Smarter Than the Storm argues is that we need green technology, we need renewable. If AI is to play the systemic role, its own footprints must be addressed. And that is where green, community positive data centers is critical. That is the central idea of the book. At present, many hyperscale data centers are built where land is cheap and permits are easy to obtain. They are not always sites where grids are clean or water is abundant. And therefore, that is why communities in water-stressed regions have protested to new facilities. And we proposed in this book that first, data centers need to be green by design. They should be powered by high shares of renewables, which are located in cooler climates where possible, wherever possible, and they should be engineered for maximum energy and water efficiency. This is critical.
Very critical,
Secondly, especially in countries like India, where we have 17.5% of the global population, but only 4% of the water resources. Secondly, data centers need to be integrated with local systems so that waste heat warms nearby building. The heat should be utilized for warming nearby buildings or greenhouses, so that they can provide services that stabilize local grids. That's important, that you should use this heat to stabilize local grids. And thirdly, we've argued that they should be community positive. And that means that they should create local jobs, invest in skills, and they should lead to directly local development and resilience projects. If countries follow this approach, the infrastructure that will power AI can then become the backbone of a new climate resilient economy instead of draining resources. And AI will be much more fit for purpose. It will be fit for purpose because it will be climate resilient. It will be transformational. It will be green. It should be multilingual. It should be a low bandwidth. But it's important, it's important that it becomes the backbone of a new climate resilient economy. That's really the key. For countries like India and the wider global South, they must build. They're in the process of building most of the world's new infrastructure. Energy capacity and data systems over the next decades must lead to sustaining growth while leapfrogging, industrialization, which was polluting earlier. So today's emerging economies have access to clean technologies, and therefore we should view the ushering in of AI as an opportunity to technologically leapfrog, to be transformational, and we should look at it from the perspective of net zero being net zero, net positive, and we should look at AI as an opportunity to be an opportunity to decarbonize in a very big way, rather than be a guzzler of energy. That's important to me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So from an international cooperation standpoint, right, what's the kind of role that countries play in harnessing AI for climate action? What kind of discussions possibly are underway? Maybe if you could share with us.
So right now, we are at the beginning of the onset of AI. It's important. And it's also important to understand that the first winner is not always the winner. The internet was innovated by Alta Vista, but the winner was Google. Similarly, laptops were innovated by Clive Osborne. He went bust. Alta Vista went bust, but Apple came out a winner. So the race has just begun. How it will shape up is something which we need to comprehend. What is important is that right now there's a race for great computing power, and if you look at OpenAI, for instance, it is using this new deal with NVIDIA is for close to about 10 gigawatt. 10 gigawatt means about 5 million latest Blackwell GPUs. 5 million. In India, we are talking about 50,000 GPUs. So, our ability to do better, more sophisticated software with less computing power will be the key. AI will get commoditized in due course. And it's important that our data is not used by international companies, because your power is your data and your skills. If your data is taken by them free of cost and then is used and products are created, and those products are then sold to us at very, very exorbitant costs, that'll be neo-colonialism in many ways. That'll be a new form of colonialism. So it's important that we build up our sovereign models, which we are capable of. India has the data, India has the size, India has the scale, India has the talent. We have the scale and size, we have the talent, and we have the data. Because no other country is so digitized as India is. We also have huge amount of software skills. So our ability to use software skills to do great sovereign models as well as great applications with less computing power and make it open source, much like what we did with digital public infrastructure. We were able to do fast payment. We were able to do stock markets. We were able to do credit. We were able to do insurance, all within 30 seconds to 1 minute. We leapfrog. We leapfrog
completely.
What would have taken us 50 years, we did it in 7 years, according to the Bank of International Settlement. The cost of transaction fell in it. So we need to do a DPI for AI in India. That is important. We need to demonstrate that AI must be used for the good of the citizens. And therefore, AI is not about just creating sovereign models, but AI must be used to improve learning outcomes, to improve health outcomes, to improve nutritional standards. All that, to my mind, is really the key to the success of the AI in the future. It's critical to my mind that we are able to use it as a very, very transformational force in the years to come. And that'll happen if we are able to make it very resilient, if we are able to do it in a sustainable manner, if we are able to do it, if we are able to do it in a manner that we are able to benefit the larger, we are a 1.5 billion society, all of them use digital technology. So we are able to use it to the benefit of our society.
Absolutely.
What was physically not possible earlier, AI has made it possible for us to achieve that. Because these are slow-moving indicators. They used to take years to do physical work. But now it's possible to leapfrog through the use of data, machine learning, and artificial intelligence to be transformational.
Wonderful. Sir, you have emphasized India's potential for clean tech manufacturing. How can the country leverage these opportunities to become a global leader in your view?
So I'm a great believer that for India, it's very important, much like what we did in mobile telephony, what we've done in digital public infrastructure, we need to do in clean technology. And we need to accelerate the pace of that by pushing for greater renewables, first of all. Because what the West Asia turbulence and crisis has demonstrated that we are too dependent on fossil fuel. We can't be importing $180 billion worth of fossil fuel and be dependent totally when you are climatically blessed. Actually, India is climatically blessed. No other country is as blessed as India is. And therefore, we should raise our target of 500 gigawatt by 2030, to my mind, to 1,500 gigawatts. And we should push for solar because that's our strength. Fossil fuel is not Indian, but sun energy is Indian. The wind energy is Indian. So use Indian energy. No other country is so climatically blessed. And then back it up with battery storage. Now, battery storage is critical for you to have round-the-clock 24/7 energy. And that would mean that all your bids which come out must be 24/7, backed by 24/7 battery storage. That will push for battery innovation in India. And lithium prices have dropped sharply across the world. Now, lithium, nickel, cobalt is available across the world, but the processing technology India must master. And the challenge there is that today, China has 90% of the solar energy manufacturing, about 80% of the wind energy. They have 92% of the battery storage. But this is the key which India must capture. We must do wind manufacturing, we must do solar manufacturing here, and we must do processing of batteries here. That will enable you to do this, and that will enable you to do both energy storage, and that will enable you to do mobility storage, both. This is critical. And the next is that we should push much greater use of what this crisis has demonstrated is that you can't be dependent on fossil fuel for mobility. And therefore, you need India as an automobile champion. So India needs, we do 50% of the manufacturing. Our manufacturing comes from the automobile sector. There's disruption taking place. And therefore, India must push for 2- and 3-wheeler manufacturing, which is all electric. We must push for buses and trucks, which are major polluters, into manufacturing. And we must push both the CAFE norms in a very big way and say that by 2030, all 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers in India must go electric. All our tenders for buses and lorries must be electric for the future. In fact, I'm a great believer that we should stop registering combustion vehicles now. And we should push for this transformation, both by regulation and by technology. We should cause a disruption, which will be good for us. And that will make India the center for manufacturing for the rest of the world for cleaner technology. And the other is that we should use our renewable energy. We already produce about 262 gigawatts of renewable energy. We should use that renewable energy to crack water and produce green hydrogen. We've had 3 or 4 bids which have been very, very successful, very low cost. India has been getting the lowest cost. Our aim should be that by 2047, by the time we become 100, we should be the cheapest producer, or even earlier, we should be the cheapest producer of green hydrogen in the world. We should be the cheapest exporter of ammonia in its liquid form. And we should be the biggest manufacturer of electrolyzer and bring down the cost of hydrogen, green hydrogen, from $4.50 at present to less than $1 per kilogram.
Wonderful. In fact, Mr. Kant, what are the kind of key challenges, sir, in securing climate finance, especially for developing countries? How do you think it can be addressed?
So first of all, we must be very clear that we've had, the COP21 in Paris, where the developed world had agreed to support the developing countries simply because they are the ones who polluted the world.
Yeah.
India's greenhouse gas emission, CO2 emission is 1/10 that of the United States of America. So they'd agreed. But they've all backed out. And what they are providing is very, very little. And that's not coming in as sovereign funds. So my view is that there is no shortage of funds in the world. There's $3 trillion available, and a lot of that is available with private equity and venture funds.
Yeah.
We should do what we've done in our renewable energy sector, that we brought in the right policy, and that right policy enabled our private sector to attract funds from all over the world. And we've been able to attract private equity, we've been able to attract sovereign wealth funds, we've been able to attract venture funds all into our renewable energy sector. And we've made it commercially viable. The best thing is if your private sector is able to attract money with the right policy framework. But private sector must be able to generate a rate of return. And therefore, policy leads to the right policy, enables private sector to grow, and the private sector then attracts the right international funds. It also brings in the best technology, and it makes renewable commercially viable in the long run. And that is the policy framework we need for renewables, we need for offshore, we need for battery storage, we need for electric mobility. If we have the right policy framework, private equity will attract funds from all over the world. And there is almost $300 trillion available across the world. They are looking for opportunities. We must create that opportunity.
It's just making sure the deployment is in the right center.
Yeah, it should be in the private sector. It should be in clean energy sectors. And to my mind, we should also work with agencies like International Finance Corporation, MIGA, etc., so that we are able to structure the right kind of projects and the right kind of to be able to attract the funds.
So you have been a very, very strong proponent of electrical vehicles, or the EVs, right? And you have had a vision document, EV Vision 2030. You've shaped, especially when it comes to focus on battery recycling, smart grids, and even green hydrogen. Can you share your personal views on this, and where do you see India heading?
Yeah, it's a very important thing. The ongoing West Asia crisis, to my mind, is not just a geopolitical crisis, but it's an important warning for India, because we import over 87% of our crude oil requirement.
Yeah.
And a lot of that goes into mobility. We also must understand that India is the world's third largest automobile market. We contribute nearly 7% of our to GDP through the sector, and it supports millions of livelihood. Now, a global technological transformation is rapidly shifting the auto industry away from internal combustion towards the final frontier of innovation, and that is electrification. And this transition is actually accelerating faster, much faster than many expected, and the present West Asian crisis will actually accelerate this. So what India needs to do is really take decisive actions to push electric mobility. And my view is that we must mandate 100% electrification of two-wheelers and three-wheelers by 2030. That is an absolute necessity, that by 2030, 100% electrification should be done. We should also finalize our CAFE 3 norms in favor of electrification very strongly, because electrification of passenger cars in India remains very slow. While China has reached around 50% EV penetration in new car sales, India remains at roughly about 4%. So this requires a structural shift, not merely incremental incentives. So the Bureau of Energy Efficiency has released a draft proposal, and issues remain unresolved, because the government must be very decisive and lay down a clear, credible pathway and target at least that 40% of our electric car sales by 2030 must go electric. Thirdly, we must electrify buses and trucks at large scale because trucks contribute very significantly. Now, the Prime Minister has spelled out the PME drive. We need to push this in a much bigger way, and really freight is very critical because while trucks account for just 3% of vehicles, but nearly 45% of transport emissions come from them. So electrifying this segment is essential. This is very, very critical. And fourthly, we must legislate the right to charge. So charging infrastructure is key for EV uptake. Over 60% of urban households reside in multi-story apartments or shared housing. No construction should be allowed without charging. So right to charge is, there should be a legislative framework like the right to charge. And this I feel is very strongly, because without charging, there will be anxiety, and we need to push this in a very big way. And the last point I want to make is, which is very important, that we should not be dependent on any country for our battery ecosystem. So India needs to build a Bharat battery ecosystem. And that is very, very critical. So today, China dominates global battery manufacturing, accounting for nearly 80% of cell production. We need to push for battery manufacturing in India in a very big way. We had pushed the production-linked incentive, but it has radically fallen short. The PLI requires a fundamental reset. And we need to build capabilities across the entire battery value chain, from critical mineral sourcing and refining to cell manufacturing and processing and recycling. All that is critical, and that is really the key, and that is what we need to push for. So my view is that this 5-point agenda, comprising 100% electrification of 2- and 3-wheelers by 2030, CAFE 3 norms, electrification of buses and trucks, a right to charge, and a Bharat battery ecosystem is an absolute necessity for India. And these measures need to move together. And India needs to leapfrog, because we've leapfrogged in many areas, in mobile telephony, in digital public infrastructure. We need to do this in mobility. And the West Asian crisis is a reminder of it must become the turning point. And electrification is really, really central to India's energy security, green growth, and Viksit Bharat. We need to move decisively on this front.
Absolutely. A Bharat battery ecosystem, I think, is absolutely spot on, and sure the need of the hour and the day, actually. Mr. Amitabh Kant, sir, many thanks for joining in for the 100th series of my podcast, The Sound of Money. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.